Welcome to Car Makeup. I'm Sonia Elise, and today we are doing a profile audit for one of my beauty content creators. I've owed her this for a little while, so shame on me. She won this as part of a little giveaway that I did over on Threads, and I've been owing her this profile audit. So if you are on Instagram as any niche of content creator, hang in there, stay with me. We're going to dive into the nitty-gritty, and let me tell you, all of the tips that I am about to give are applicable to literally any content creator looking to grow on Instagram. So let's get into it. First and foremost, I always take a screenshot of the actual profile of the creator, and then I DM it to them. I send everything via voice notes in DMs because I think that's the easiest way for people to absorb things. I would love to do my profile audits in like a video format for every single person, but honestly, it's just not feasible in terms of like time. I need to be flexible and on the go, but I want people to hear my voice when it comes to the profile audit so they can really understand my intonation and the feedback that I'm giving. I honestly just don't think that a Word doc or a PDF like hits the same. It truly does not. Hey girly, finally getting into your profile audit. I am so sorry that I have been so delayed on this. Been working on so many different things, and I apologize that I pushed this to the back burner, but here we are, so let's get started. The first portion of the profile audit that I always do is just like landing page, right? So if I'm landing on your page as a creator, what am I seeing as someone who casts creators on behalf of brands? So if you didn't know, I've been doing this for over a decade. Brands hire me to help them ideate around a launch or, a push or something that they'd like to do on social that involves influencers. We have a budget and they let me, work with them to aggregate and cast the influencers that we end up paying to support that campaign. So I have been doing this for a very long time, and I have to say, I think my tips are always spot on. Feel free to argue me in the comments if you think I'm wrong. First part is literally the landing page, the bio. 3 things people always need to have. 1 is an optimized name. Hers is not. We're going to talk about that right now. 2 is some detail in the actual caption or in the actual bio. 3 is an email. She does have her email, so that is great. And 4 is a location, especially if you are looking to get on the radar of brands that are having events. First and foremost is I think we really need to optimize your name section. So right now it says Karen with the little sparkle emoji. That's not really telling me anything. If I am looking for a beauty content creator, I'm not going to find you in search. Also, there are a million Karens online, literally and figuratively. So, sorry, that's the only Karen joke I'm going to make, I promise. So I think that it's time to take this up a notch. I'm also noting in your actual bio, it just says beauty content creator. It's not specific enough. Like, I know your content and you are a full glam girly. You are someone who likes colorful, bold eye looks, right? So I really think that your name section should be more optimized with Karen, full glam, colorful makeup, full glam makeup, right? Something where if I was someone who wanted to learn about doing the type of look that you specialize in, that it would be easy for me to find you through search. So that's first and foremost. I would love for you to update that and be a lot more specific. You have a lot more characters here to work with in that name section, so let's really push that further. Second is the actual bio itself. So like I said, right now you have beauty content creator, NH, US, and then your email. Again, I think this covers the basics, but it's not telling me who you are. It's not telling me what type of content I'm going to find here. I think it's time to push this a lot further for you because I know that you've been online for a minute. You are growing. Your skills are really getting a lot better when it comes to videography and other things. So it's definitely time to move this forward. The biggest thing that this calls into play is really, what do you want to be known for? And when I go through your content, I mean, you're definitely a full glam girly. You're definitely bold, beautiful eye looks, right? You need to select something that is a quick 1 sentence that lets people know what they're going to get on this profile, teaching you to embrace bold, beautiful, full glam looks. I don't think that you actually are doing tutorials though, but if you're teaching somebody to embrace the bold look, to not be afraid to go with full glam, full color, then that is teaching something. I think it's time for you to really sit down and think about this and develop a statement for yourself. This is also a big portion of personal branding as a creator. So having a one-liner that encompasses what your content is about is extremely valuable for like when you meet a brand, when you meet a new follower, when someone just asks you off the cuff, like, oh, what's your Instagram about? What's your blog about? You know, like it's great to have an easy reply that feels really true and authentic to what you create online. This is probably going to be the hardest portion for you, and it is truly the hardest portion for most creators. But now that you're over the 2,000 follower mark, I know you're over that mark over on TikTok as well. So it's really time to niche down and get a lot more focused. Like, what are you doing on these profiles and what do you want to be known for? This is the hardest thing, but because I think people feel pigeonholed. They're like, oh, if I select a thing, then I can never be known for something else. And that's really not true. You can absolutely shift that perspective, shift your mindset, shift what you do. You can sometimes, show up and do a soft, natural look. It doesn't always have to be full glam just because your bio says full glam, right? But in order for you to grow faster, you have to get more specific in what you are doing online. And if I look at all of your content, it is full glam. It is color. It is taking some risks. It's working a lot with eyeshadow palettes. So I think that there's a lot here, and I would really suggest that maybe you do some journaling, look through some of your highest performing content, and maybe even ask some friends, like, when you look at my profile, what do you think I'm known for? Those are really easy ways to kind of decide on a final perspective, a final statement that you're going to put out in the bio, maybe a shorter version that you're going to have on TikTok, and then an even shorter version for that search engine optimization in the name section. This is also something that you can use that one-liner a lot when it comes to captions or in stories. You really want people to hear that one-liner and kind of understand that this means you. For me, I teach the beauty industry how to show up online more effectively. That's very all-encompassing of what I do. So I try to use that a lot in my content, and I have it in my bio and I have it on my website. It's just something that is tied to me very closely, and that's something that I think everyone should develop for themselves. That is it on her actual bio. I normally also take a look at the bio image. Her bio image looks great, stunning. You can see her face very well. She's in a full glam look, which again really relates well to her content. So I think there's no problem. It's well lit. It's pretty close to the face, so no problem with the bio image right there. It's really the two places I always see creators really tripped up is one, the name section. Normally it's just their name or something very general, name beauty content creator, name lifestyle content creator, right? There's just like not enough info there. And two is also in the actual bio itself. Either people are not getting descriptive enough or they are not leaving their email. Always leave the email. Those are the biggest things there. Now let's dive into her actual content. Okay, I'm going to take a look at your actual content as well. But first, I really want to talk about your 2 pinned posts. So I know you have the pinned posts because Gwen Stefani, huge, commented and reposted on your content. I think for a minute that was great to have there, and maybe you just select one of those 2. I think they're a little redundant. I like that you pin them because it does show that somebody who's prominent in the industry saw your work and valued it. So I understand why you have it pinned there, but I think having both of those posts pinned that feels so similar, maybe you don't need that. 2 is that I wish that you had one of like your signature eye looks pinned or like signature full glam pinned, something that you feel really, really proud of. Does not have to be your highest performing post. So many people think that it needs to be like this most viral post, the highest number of views. Not true. It needs to be the content that best speaks to you as a content creator. Could be collaborative work. It could be just something that you're really proud of, editorial, just something that really says, if you were to hire me or work together with me, this is what you would be getting. That's pinned post. This happens both on TikTok and Instagram. People go viral for something. It could be like a trending sound. It could be just like a funny little thing, and they pin it because it shows like, oh, look, I hit 4 million views one time. Like, no, that's not what should be pinned. Always pin something that speaks to your niche and the type of content that you create for brands. That's more important than just going viral. Looking at her profile and her images. I mean, mainly we're having reels here, but there are some images. And the first thing that I'm noticing is that no covers that on her reels that have any type of like really explanation of what I'm gonna get here. And look, she has like the new Urban Decay palette that's huge. There's no writing on top of the reel itself. Now getting into the actual content itself, clearly we know that your videography skills and how close you are to the camera, your transition skills, all of that is so good. So no edits there. The first biggest edit that I noticed is there are no covers on your profile, on your reels. There is places where Adam Mosseri has said covers are really important, especially with text overlay for SEO search and for an audience and even a potential brand partner to know what's in the reel before they tap into it. So you really want to think of this like a magazine headline. It should be just a one-liner, very straightforward. Test the new Urban Decay palette with me. Test the new all-nighter setting spray. Let's swatch this palette, right? Like, let's do a full glam purple wing. Whatever it's going to be, it's just like a one-liner. Don't give it too much extra thought. An easy way to make sure you have these every time is to either take a selfie midway through your recording or take a selfie right at the end of your recording and then upload that into Instagram stories. Use the provided text inside stories to write that one-liner, download it into your camera roll, and then when you make a reel, that is the reel cover. Super, super easy. The next piece of advice when it comes to your reels is that you do use a lot of voiceover, but not a lot of people listen with sound on. I think it's about 50% is the quote that I heard Adam Mosseri say of people listen with sound on is their estimate. Could be a little bit less. So you're really alienating 50% of people who are watching your videos when you do voiceover and you're not putting any closed captioning on the video. So here on forward, any video that you are doing voiceover, you need to have closed captioning on, or at the very least, you need to bullet point a summary of what it is that you're saying. Ideally, in addition, when you upload that reel, maybe you shot it outside of TikTok and Instagram, and then now you're posting it separately, right? In each platform, you should have a one-liner that says what this video is going to be about, just like the reel cover that I just described. So let's review the Naked 2 palette together. Let's review the blah, blah, blah. Let's swatch this, right? Whatever the one-liner is, maybe it's something more exciting than what I just listed, but generally speaking, you should have that one-liner on the screen for the first couple of seconds because it's, again, very important. Maybe I'm listening with sound off, but I want to turn the sound on because once I see the one-liner, I'm like, oh, I'm interested. If I don't know what it's about, I could just swipe away. So adding that little extra step, adding the closed captioning, adding some bullet points. Maybe if you're using a lot of products, you list what the products are on the screen. And lastly, this last tip is really good for beauty content creators. Don't forget to put your skin type and age or any sort of skin concerns. People who are watching, especially when you are doing foundation or really any makeup tutorial, they need to know like what type of skin type that you have, maybe how old you are, if that's what you feel comfortable doing. I think it's really important because if you have, oily skin and you're putting on a foundation, I'm like, oh my God, that looks so beautiful, but I have really dry skin. That foundation likely is not going to work for me. So I think if you don't deliver it in a statement, making sure that it's on the screen somewhere during the review is really important. And the last tip I have for her really is cadence. I think she could be posting a lot more, a lot faster. She's doing all of these bold eye looks, but I'm not really seeing any sort of, end of week carousel of, like she did 3 in a row of the Fenty Beauty lip liner, totally fine. But then maybe at the end of that week, she did like 5 lip combos, all just using selfies as a carousel of that same Fenty lip, right? Just take it like one step forward and use all of Instagram's options. Final tip here is I think you could be producing a lot more content if you made sure to be getting a lot more still images of yourself every week and really using carousels. So I've noticed that you have like a 3 across of some of the products where you're using them in 3 different ways, 3 different videos. Sometimes there's one selfie in there. I think that's great. For example, with the Fenty lip liner that you just did the look of, I think you could have done like 7 lip combos using this Fenty lip liner, and then it's like a carousel of each lip combo and asking people to vote, right? If you have selfies of yourself going way far back with like all different glam looks, maybe they're sorted by different colors, you could aggregate together a carousel that's like my 5 favorite purple eye looks. vote below. Katie Jane Hughes does a great job of doing this. She has so many images of herself in final looks, and she posts a ton of carousels. It's honestly just a great way to show up in the algorithm more frequently, and also a great way to be using the different functionality of Instagram, right? So just because they're pushing reels doesn't mean that carousels don't also serve a purpose. So don't limit yourself. There you have it. So timer on the video says 19 minutes. The profile audit cost $35. So by the time I wrap this up and give her a few more points that I'm going to do off camera, you can see we're charging about $1 a minute here, which is dirt cheap for a profile audit. So if you're looking for one, make sure to check the show notes to book one of your own. Bye.